Where am I? Suddenly, memories flooded my thoughts. The party, the girls, the accident.
Johnny!
Mom hugged me.
You're finally awake.
She sighed.
Francine, let him breathe.
Dad's jovial voice filled the room.
I must say, he does look better with those bandages.
Hillary, my sister who was 2 years older than me, smirked before she gave me a hug. An older lady in a white coat walked into the room.
Hi, John. I'm Dr. Patricia Reyes.
What she told me next totally changed my life. Keep watching if you want to see how my crazy story turns out. What? What do you mean you had to remove my leg? I felt nauseated. But school, baseball, hockey, my scholarship. I buried my head in my hands and cried. Hillary held me in her arms while Mom and Dad moved outside the room to chat with Dr. Reyes.
It'll be okay, Johnny.
Later, I got discharged and was able to go home. At home, things were financially and emotionally strained. One evening, I overheard my parents discussing the bills and that they needed a miracle. I needed a way to help my parents, but what was I to do? I sat in my bedroom. I heard a knock on the door. Hillary walked in with a pair of crutches and handed them to me.
Allison's brother Todd said you could have these. This helped him out a lot after his football accident.
Thanks, Hill. She kissed me on the forehead before she left. Another 2 weeks passed before Mom and Dad agreed it was time for me to head back to school. There was a knock on the front door.
I see you're looking good as ever.
Brendan, my best friend, greeted me with a bear hug. I chuckled. We'd better get going. I don't want to be late for the first day back at school. Over the next few weeks, I began to feel more like myself. One afternoon, Brendan busted into my room with his phone in his hand.
Hey, Johnny, take a look at this.
Brendan handed me his phone. ProTech Company is ready to give back. Win one of our prosthetic legs today. It went on to say in order to win, the family or friends of the individual must create a video stating why they're deserving of the leg. The cost of each leg was $30,000, and there were 3 legs to be won.
What's going on here?
Hillary peeked into my bedroom.
I, the best friend, found the ultimate solution for Johnny.
I handed Hillary the phone, who skimmed over the article.
This sounds way too good to be true. Let me do a quick search on Mr. Chang.
Hillary went on to tell us that Mr. Chang, the CEO and founder, recently won the lottery, which helped him get his company on track after struggling for the past 2 years. Mr. Chang's father lost his leg in a car accident when Mr. Chang was just a little boy. It was hard for his family because his dad was the breadwinner, and during that time, prosthetics weren't an option.
So does this mean we can go ahead and shoot the video?
I don't see why not.
During dinner, Hillary and I pitched the video to our parents, who agreed to help out. Over the next few days, my family, Brendan, and even some of the kids and teachers at school put together a video, and Brendan submitted it. Approximately 3 months later, we received a congratulatory letter from ProTech. I couldn't believe it. I won. We got a date and a time to go into ProTech to meet with Mr. Chang for a fitting of the leg. Once the fitting of the leg was completed, I thought about how much my life was going to change with the help of the prosthetic leg. What I didn't count on was the rivalry and betrayal that came with it. About 6 months later, Brendan, Hillary, and I were hanging out at home in Hillary's room, while Mom and Dad were downstairs when the news report came on.
Tonight, local authorities found CEO and founder of ProTech, Mr. Chang, dead at his office. Rumor has it that Mr. Chang was doing some shady business with this international gang, D. Chatty, but the police didn't deny or confirm our suspicions.
I switched off the television.
I've heard the name of that gang before.
Hillary picked up her phone and searched the internet.
D. Chatty Gang is infamous for jewelry heists and selling gold and other precious metals to the highest bidder. There is also a rumor that he stole some jewelry from Chatty and hid them in his prosthetic limbs.
Hillary gasped.
Johnny, do you think?
I removed my leg and Hillary opened it slowly using scissors. Hillary turned the leg upside down and something caught her eye. She took the scissors and pried the sole of the leg off, and sure enough, there we found diamonds attached to a black cloth.
Wow!
Brendan took the cloth from Hillary as she reattached the sole to the leg before she returned it to me. We need to find a place to hide that. I attached the leg to my stump. Suddenly, shouts from downstairs caught our attention. Hillary and I darted downstairs. In the kitchen stood 4 men. 2 of them were tying our parents to the kitchen chairs. One of the men walked towards us with a devilish smile.
We're looking for the person in the house with the fake leg. Leave my children alone!
Dad struggled against his ropes. One of the men slammed a baton into Dad's leg. Dad howled in pain and the man laughed.
Well, That isn't the prosthetic leg. Shall I try the other one?
No, I screamed. Dad pleaded.
Johnny, no!
I'm the one you want. One of the men grabbed Hillary and tied her to the chair while I was ordered to remove my leg. My hands trembled as I did as they asked. As soon as I handed over the leg, I was tied up next to the rest of my family. My family looked on as the men took the leg apart and searched it. When they didn't find anything, I watched as they shattered the leg against the wall, then dropped the remaining fragments onto the floor. Over the next 15 minutes, the men trashed the house and stole whatever their hands could carry before exiting. Hillary was able to loosen her ropes and she untied everyone. Immediately, Mom called the police and Hillary called an ambulance for Dad. First to arrive was the police, and shortly after, the ambulance. The police questioned Hillary and I, then followed Mom and Dad to the hospital to question them there.
I'm so sorry about your leg, John.
Hillary squeezed my hand. It's okay. With the diamonds, I can get another one.
I wonder where Brendan ran off to. He can't be in the house or the men would have caught him. I'll take a look outside.
Hillary disappeared through the front door. She returned 15 minutes later.
Brendan is nowhere to be seen. You don't think he ran away with the diamonds, do you?
He'd never do something like that. Or so I thought. That week, Brendan wasn't at school, nor was he answering any of our phone calls. Hillary also passed by his home since he lived just down the street, but his mom, Mrs. Pinder, said he was too busy with homework to come and chat with her.
I can't believe Brendan would betray us like that.
Hillary hissed angrily as she sat on my bed. I'm finding it hard to believe that myself.
Let's break in.
My eyes widened. What?
You heard me. Let's break in.
Even though I wasn't thrilled about the idea, I realized we didn't have a choice. Later that night, I watched as Hillary adjusted a mic and camera onto her clothes. She ensured that everything was streamed to my laptop.
Okay, I'll see you in a bit.
She grabbed the torchlight from my desk. Please be safe, Hill. She kissed me on my forehead, smiled, and left my room without a word. I sat there nervously as I watched Hillary move closer to Brendan's house. She went to the back of the house and jimmied a window open before she slid inside the house. Once inside, she quickly made her way to Brendan's bedroom.
He's not here, Johnny.
Suddenly, Brendan's bedroom light flickered on and Hillary came face to face with Mrs. Pinder.
What are you doing in Brendan's bedroom? I was worried about Brendan. He and Johnny are inseparable. I'm so sorry.
Hillary broke down into tears, which made Mrs. Pinder cry as well. Through the tears, Mrs. Pinder revealed that she and her husband had received a text message from Brendan saying that he needed some time for himself. She said they contacted the police, but the police told them there was nothing they could do since he was of age. Hillary thanked Mrs. Pinder and left the house. That snake! I slammed my fist against my desk angrily. After Hillary got home, I told her I had a plan. I told her not to worry about it as we said goodnight to each other. I made contact with one of the members of the D Chatty gang. I told them that I wanted to cut a deal. I know who took the diamonds. In return, I'd like my sister's tuition, my parents' mortgage, and hospital bills paid in full. The person on the other end told me to send Brendan's picture, and if they didn't find the diamonds on him, they'd come for me. The line went dead. About a week later, Mrs. Pinder informed us that Brendan was found, but he was in the hospital. His face was swollen where he was unrecognizable. The doctors weren't sure if he was going to pull through. One afternoon, I came home and saw a brown paper package on the doorstep addressed to my parents. I gave it to Dad, who opened it. There was a little note.
We've seen how hard you've worked to provide for your family, and we just wanted to give you a small gift.
In the box were receipts from the hospital, bank, and college, stamped and paid in full. Mom and Dad were so excited that they didn't notice the look Hillary and I exchanged. 2 years passed and Hillary and I never spoke about the package or its contents. Within those 2 years, Brendan and his family moved away, and I got a new leg. While on our family vacation, Hillary and I were sitting relaxing at a resort poolside, having drinks, while our parents were having dinner. Suddenly, my eyes widened. Isn't that Brendan? Hillary spun around, but by that time, he was already gone. Hillary turned to me.
Do you really think it was him?
It wasn't long before Brendan showed up and gave a drink to another vacationer. Look, there he is again.
I'm going over.
I gulped the last of my drink and followed her.
Hi.
Brendan smiled politely.
Good evening, ma'am. How may I help you?
Brendan, it's Hillary.
He stared at her blindly.
Can I get you something to drink?
I grabbed her arm. Come on, Hill, it's time to go. I pulled her away gently until we were out of earshot. Something is wrong here. Why doesn't he remember us? Hillary leaned in.
Do you think it was anything to do with what happened 2 years ago?
I shrugged. Maybe.
I think we should investigate.
No, I think we should just leave it alone and go back to our rooms. Hillary had a determined look on her face. She sank into one of the pool chairs. I sighed heavily and sat next to her and waited. About an hour later, we heard the supervisor wish Brendan a good night.
Here's our chance to follow him,
Hillary whispered eagerly. Reluctantly, I followed Hillary. We followed Brendan to the elevators where he got in.
Okay, I'll follow him through the stairs, and you tell me which floor he came out on, okay?
I pulled out my phone to call Hillary as she darted towards the staircase. I watched as the elevator went to the underground parking lot, and I told Hillary.
I see him. He's going through a red door. Hurry up and get down here. I don't want to lose him.
Hillary hung up. I entered the elevator quickly and met Hillary in the parking lot.
Okay, he went through that door. Let's go.
We ensured the coast was clear before we opened the door and slipped inside. Before us was a long, brightly lit white corridor with numbered doors on either side. At the end of the corridor was a large double door with the exit sign over it. We were almost to the double doors when we heard voices. Immediately, we slipped into one of the rooms. In the room was a bed and a closet. On the bed was Brendan, who looked like he was asleep. We heard voices outside the door and hid in the closet with the door slightly ajar. We held our breath as a man and a woman entered the room. They went to Brendan's bedside and injected something into the back of his neck before they left the room. As soon as we thought the coast was clear, Hillary and I ran out of there, and we didn't stop until we were safe outside our hotel room. We need to find Mom and Dad and get out of here. I pushed open the door to the hotel room. As soon as we entered, two men overpowered us, and we were both knocked unconscious. I rubbed the back of my neck and opened my eyes. How did I get back home? I ran through the house looking for my family. No one was there. My eyes glanced at the walls. All of our family portraits were gone. The only portraits up were of me. I entered the kitchen, and on the table was a brown paper package. I opened it slowly. There were pictures of my family smiling, and stamped on the other side was "Paid in full." I pulled out a note that was in the box. It was from the leader of the D Chatty gang. It said that my family was now under their care, and I was spared because I gave them the information to find Brendan. The problem was, by the time they found him, he had already sold half the diamonds, so the gang needed to be compensated for the other half. To this day, I'm still searching for my family. All records of them have been removed from the system. It's as though they never existed. Police have tried to tell me they never existed, but I know that I'll see them again one day. I just have to keep hope alive.